From the Black Swan Media Studios, deep inside a secret underground bunker, we're speaking to freedom-loving patriots from all around the country and the world. Welcome to the Resistance. This is John Crump, live.
And I am live and in charge, and I am joined today by our favorite producer co-host of the show, Flying Rich. How are you doing, my friend?
Crumpy! Good, as it thunders away and the dogs are freaking out.
Well, it's not thundering here, so that's a good thing. We
Yep.
are going to be joined today by someone that I saw at Golf. I've known for a while now. Good guy. He runs Grassroots North Carolina, which is a state-level firearms rights group out of North Carolina. They have teamed up in the past with GOA and other organizations to force people to do the right thing, including a sheriff in Mecklen County. So let's go ahead and welcome Paul Malone. How you doing?
Thanks very much for having me, John.
No problem. No problem. So did you enjoy golf? First question.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it was a phenomenal experience. Our team was cohesive. We got everything we wanted done, and we enjoyed the experience thoroughly. Very well orchestrated.
Yeah, I just want to say hi to a couple people out there: Vulcan Rumble, Johnny 3 Bar, Chris Bullis, Kirk 24, Ed
Hey.
Bender. The Morgan case. I did a video on John Crump News about that, and I have an article coming out that they dismissed the machine gun charge because they said it violates the the Second Amendment. We have Kirsty Chertel, ADX 9R920, Chris Bullis, Anti-Misfit, Ron Bear, and a bunch of other people out there. Welcome to the show. Paul, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, basically, I've been running Grassroots North Carolina for 30 years. Two other guys, and I founded it back in 1994, thanks in large part to Gun Owners of America. Larry Pratt actually gave me the initial advice that created the rally on July 2nd of 1994. We collected names and made a mailing list out of that, and incorporated as a 501c4, and Grassroots North Carolina has been going strong ever since. We're exactly what the name implies, a grassroots group of people from all walks of life who share a common concern that our constitutional freedoms are being eroded. Again, it's all volunteer. So what we do more efficiently than some other organizations is we make sure that every dime goes toward defending your rights, every dime we get.
Yeah, which is a good thing. And you guys have teamed up with GOA in the past. The Mecklenburg sheriff is the one that comes to mind right away, where they were they slow rolling the concealed carry permits or something like that.
Well, no, we're now on our second lawsuit against Gary McFadden. I think, as they say, you just can't fix stupid. This guy was slow rolling both the pistol purchase permits that are uniquely North Carolinian and also our concealed handgun permits. Well, we repealed the purchase permit law, but I'm happy to say that was our big legislative success of the past year. We repealed our 1919 Jim Crow era pistol purchase permit law. under which sheriffs could decide whether or not you were of, quote, good moral character, whatever that meant. In 1919, it meant you were black. Now, who knows? It could mean that you contributed to the sheriff's opponent in the last election. But in any case, we got a consent order against him the first time, and permits were going out on time. And then suddenly we found we were getting reports of delays yet again. And we discovered that he was delaying concealed handgun permits in yet another way. I say it's kind of like playing whack-a-mole. You hit him in one place, he pops up someplace else. So this time he was trying to send all of that's the sheriff. That's the good sheriff right there. That'll give you a real good feel for Gary McFadden, let me tell you.
Ouch. All right, the car is. Hey, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against women in any shape or form or whatever. But if you're sheriff and you have a hot car, that's one thing. If you have a sheriff and you got somebody who looks like a hooker on the hood of the car, maybe not the image you want.
Well, should I also mention then that at one point he had a reality show named I Am a Homicide. You just can't make this stuff up. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So what he was trying to do this time is he sent mental health record requests, which he could send out for concealed handgun permit applications, but he sent them out for all applicants to the Veterans Administration. Now, whether they served in the military or not. And so the local VA in Salisbury was overwhelmed with his request, which of course was exactly the intent. And they had no obligation. Yeah, there it is. I Am Homicide. You got it. That's Gary.
Yep.
You're quick, man. You got it all.
Is he still sheriff?
Oh, unfortunately, he is.
So my sheriff, I'm in Palm Beach County. My sheriff, Rick Bradshaw, he's the one that left the cell door unlocked and open for what's his face? Who was the child predator?
Epstein.
Epstein.
Oh,
Jeffrey.
really? No
Yeah.
kidding. I'm sure that was just an accident.
No, he was claustrophobic, and because he's claustrophobic.
Well, in any case, permits were again taking more than a year, and thanks to GOA's attorneys and one of our attorneys from GOA, we had Rob Olson and Steve Stambolia. You tell me how to, as he says every time he pronounces it a different way, I guess, just to keep you on your toes. But and also Ron Shook, our attorney from Gastonia, North Carolina, who has just done a phenomenal job. So all three of those guys. Pardon me?
Yep, I know all three of them. Ron Shook actually authored a amicus brief in the case against Rich and I when the ATF was trying to censor us.
Okay, all right. He authored a brief against you, did you say?
No, for us.
For us, yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
The ATF was trying to put a gag order on us to stop us from reporting on the ATF.
You have a tremendous record of driving the alphabet agencies insane, John. And
I absolutely do, and I'm very proud of that. But Ron did write he wrote an amicus brief for, with a bunch of YouTubers objecting to them trying to.
I'll have to ask him about that. Didn't even know.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so in any case, we now have come to an agreement, and another consent order should be generated in the near future, we hope. And with that consent order, we hope that concealed handgun permits will actually go out on time. But again, we thank GOA because they have been right there with us as co-litigants, and we've been very, very pleased with obviously GOA's lawyers. They've done a phenomenal job.
All right.
Yeah, Jordan says that Rob and Steven are the heroes we need. Jordan Vinro owns Gideon Optics, JSD Supply, Eagle Shows, Big Reno Shows, and Atmos Slides, and probably about 30 other companies. And Rob or Steven is also his attorneys.
Ah, awesome. Very nice.
Yeah. We got a question. Charles Nichols wants to know, is Flying Rich the plaintiff Richard Hughes in the GOA Florida open carry lawsuit? Yes.
Indeed.
I'm sorry.
No,
So
somebody
there,
asking about a case that Rich is the plaintiff in for GOA in Florida. Oh, one of
yeah,
the
so
things.
in
Go ahead.
Florida, if Florida is one of 4 states you cannot open carry in. So we're Florida, the
Mhm.
gunshine state, is with Hawaii, California, and New York.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, Paul, is this right here: rules for anti-radicals. And I'm gonna link the link to it below for everyone if you want to buy it. It's a good book. I read it. So if
Well,
anybody wants to buy it, you can go ahead and click on this link from Amazon.
oh, cool.
There it is. Or you can go to my site, rulesforantiradicals.com. But either way, but you may recognize Rules for Anti-Radicals as a play on Saul Alinsky's book, Rules for Radicals, the playbook for the left as they've hijacked American society for the last 50 years. Old Saul might have been a jerk, but he wasn't wrong about what works in politics. And as a matter of fact, at Goals last weekend, I was teaching a seminar, Projecting Power in Politics, Election Tactics for 2024.
Wow.
Because a lot of gun rights organizations do well on legislative stuff, but they don't do election tactics either at all, or they don't do them the way they need to be done. Oftentimes, organizations will throw a little money at politicians and call it a day. Or they endorse candidates, only to their own membership. What we do instead is we have created a pretty sophisticated election system, I guess you could call it, where we use 501c4 money to do voter education. We evaluate candidates objectively on a 0 to 4-star evaluation, kind of like a triple guide to political candidates. And we distribute 150,000 voter guides containing all of the candidates for state and federal office across North Carolina. Then we take those candidate evaluations and we use them with our political action committee, the GRNC Political Victory Fund, to do what are called independent expenditures. We do mailings, obviously email, robocalls, robotexts, radio spots, and in some cases, even geofencing. In the last election, we put out 1.5 million impressions to mobile devices advocating Ted Budd for the United States Senate, and I'm happy to say he won. And so consequently, what we do in North Carolina is very effective. We now have a Republican supermajority in the General Assembly, and there are Republicans that aren't necessarily our friends, but the supermajority is actually, we were 1 seat shy of a supermajority when we overrode actually, the Republicans were 1 seat shy of a supermajority when we overrode Roy Cooper's veto of our pistol purchase permit repeal. So I'm happy to say we engineered the first veto override since 2008 in North Carolina. We also, I'm happy to say, have now gained conservative control of the North Carolina Supreme Court. And that's a big thing because the Democrats controlled it 4-3 before. And consequently, whenever a voter ID law would come up, they would, of course, overrule it as racist. And they also had blocked the congressional redistricting and cost us 4 congressional seats in the United States House of Representatives.
So it's amazing the inside baseball, how dirty things are. Like whether it's redistricting or regulations on how to get on the ballot. A friend of mine is Larry Sharp from New York. He ran for governor on the Libertarian ticket, and he actually did pretty good for a third party. And next race around, the Democrats and Republicans got together, wrote up some laws that basically he could not get on the ballot.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that does. Yeah. And the Democrats, by the way, have become very, very adept at manipulating election laws. And of course, also in Eric Holder and his National Democratic Redistricting Committee, run a campaign that we call Sue Till They're Blue. They sue over redistricting, but only in red states. And they managed to get a lot of political districts thrown out and actually cost us seats in Congress. So this is a
Wow.
big deal. I'm happy to say, though, now understand the Democrats on the Supreme Court in North Carolina actually came up with those two rulings while they were lame ducks when they would already have been defeated and were about to leave office. And so happily, the conservative court, when it came into session, asked to review those two cases and reversed both of them. So now we have a voter ID law, and now we have four more, probably three, at least three, probably four more Republican congressional representatives, which will help control of Congress.
Well, I know right now in Arizona, Democrats are trying to trying to fight a thing that shows that you have to show citizenship to vote in federal elections.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fighting that.
But amazingly enough, at the DNC, the convention going on right now, you need ID to get in, and there's a fence around the convention.
That must be racist.
Mm-hmm.
By their definition, that's racism.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. The party that says they want to protect democracy installed someone who didn't get a single vote.
Primary vote.
Primary.
For the office, yeah.
Also,
understand the left has a long history, and I think they learned it from the Soviets. The left has a long history of accusing you of doing exactly what they are doing. They call you the threat to the
I'm like, am I just biased that way? Do I always try to figure out, am I drinking the Kool-Aid from, either side, one side, the other side? Am I independently evaluating? I'm like, yeah, no, they are.
No, that's exactly what they're doing, and by any objective standard. And the great one is the Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Well, as I keep telling him, it's not a democracy; it's a republic. Which, of course, the Democrats are trying to make a dirty word, but they are in fact the threat to our democratic republic. Okay, there's just I shudder to think what happens if Kamala Harris wins in November. But that's why, of course, I was trying to get gun owners to do election efforts last weekend by teaching them how to create political action committees, because it's really pretty simple. All right. A political action committee is little more than a separate checking account with a treasurer, and you got to make some reports. But it's not that hard. People can form political action committees, and then they can use them to go out and do mailings for and against candidates and beat the crap out of the anti-gun politicians. And that's what I take great joy in doing. Anytime I can beat on a politician, it can't be a bad day.
So your PAC, let's say you're, a conservative 2A PAC. You could just create that and either support or, and I don't want to say black and blue. So my congressman is Brian Mast, and he used to go to Tea Party meetings and say, Rich, I'm a gun guy. You want to go to the range with me? And then he got a wealthy donor in Palm Beach here that hates guns. And he's like, well, I'm against semi-automatics.
Mm-hmm. Now for that, you're going to need a federal PAC, which is not that much harder. Okay. Ours is a federal PAC, as a matter of fact. And your reports will be to the Federal Election Commission. But quite frankly, you can go on the FEC website, and it tells you quite clearly what you need to do to form a PAC. You need a statement of organization. You need a treasurer. You need an employee identification number. And beyond that, you're pretty much good to go. The only kicker is you got to make sure that you make the necessary reports. And most importantly, if you're doing independent expenditures, you must not coordinate with the candidate who benefits.
Mhm.
That's a big no-no. So, and frankly, we don't like to coordinate anyways. I like to do my own mailings. I don't like contributing to candidates, especially when you consider that if you give money to a candidate, they're half likely to re-gift it to somebody you don't like.
Oh, shoot.
So,
Oh,
in any
look,
case,
Trump.
oh, where'd he go?
So I was having network issues yesterday, and I actually had to continue the podcast on my cell phone. So I was a little worried today because we had thunderstorms all morning.
I live
So
on
that
the top of a mountain, and if our internet goes out, that at least once a week the internet goes out. So
oh
I
geez, yeah.
hear you. At least I don't have to rely on satellite. There he is.
Yeah, it's like my web browser decided to update.
Well, dang.
And it needed to restart to apply the updates.
Mhm.
It didn't
You
ask
won't
me,
have-
it just did.
That's crazy.
You won't have any difficulty convincing me the evils of technology. I'm a technical Luddite. I've been dragged kicking and screaming into the 21st century, I can assure you.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, there it goes, and it's done.
So
But
I've always heard about PACs, though I never realized it was so easy to do. That's pretty interesting.
yeah, it's I mean, I have a treasurer who takes care of all the reporting and whatnot, but when he started, he had no experience with this at all. And
Mhm,
I'm happy to say over the years he's become quite the master. Now, I mean, there are some little tricks, and I'm not saying that that you can't learn a lot as you go along, but the basic mechanics of starting a political action committee are not nearly as daunting as people think they are. And I can assure you that, I mean, then you've got to do some list building. And there was an organization that stopped by our table at Goals, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know, we're about to, dissolve because we can't find anybody to do anything." And I said, "Well, do you send email alerts out for volunteers?" He goes, "No." I said, "Do you have an email alert network?" "No."
Oh
"Ah,
wow.
okay." I said, "I think maybe you need to do some list building. You work gun shows?" "Yeah, we work gun shows." "Oh, that's good, good." And so a good way to do list building is a gun giveaway, because when you get, their contact information for the gun giveaway, you start building lists. He goes, "Yeah, but nobody wanted to give us their email address." And I'm like, "You mean you didn't make winning the gun contingent on giving you an email address?" So, suffice
Wow.
to say, there are people who need my book. I wrote the book it's an idiot's guide to political action. All right,
Oh cool.
step by step on how to do things like organize gun rights organizations as 501c4s, and to create political action committees, and to do all of the things that gun rights organizations ought to be doing. Now, I mean, I will say the first part of the book is for Joe Average Citizen, who's not necessarily all that politically active, and it's designed to keep the left from running his life in his daily activities. I mean, it could be your neighbor who is offended by your American flag, or your school board that wants to give pornography to your children in school. Um, um, I had two guys that bought my book, and they used it to create a political action committee. Uh, they were having problems with their county commission, and they threw out two sitting county commissioners. So
Oh
this stuff
wow.
works. This stuff works, and it's not nearly as hard as you think. And you really don't need a lot of money. I mean, at least on a local level, you can do a lot with very, very little. And trust me when I say we're accustomed to doing a lot with very, very little. So
Yeah,
that's why.
that's impressive. Could I've been annoyed that we have the same sheriff here, but there really there's there are some good candidates. I thought one guy was a good guy, and then I realized he was like anti-gun. I'm like, yikes. Okay, that's not good. And Rick Bradshaw has been, a staple in Palm Beach County. Can't get rid of him, and he's running for re-election again. I thought he would have wanted to retire years ago. And
What's his party affiliation?
I believe so. It's interesting because only recently did sheriff in Florida become a political office. So you had to state whether you're Democratic or Republican.
Nonpartisan, huh?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was
got it.
nonpartisan.
Yeah, I love those.
Just like the agricultural commissioner. So in Florida, we get our carry permits from the Department of Agriculture.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that. It is different.
C&T Design and Arms says, for member for 29 months. Thank you, C&T. How's all the perps doing on this Sunday? We're all doing good. And I just wanted to bring up breaking news. Let me just do my breaking news thing because it's relevant to what we were talking about earlier. That's not the breaking news. That's not the breaking news either. That's not it either. What the hell? There it goes.
Breaking news! Breaking news!
I was talking about the Arizona law that was being challenged by Democrats, and a judge blocked it, saying that you cannot require people to show proof of citizenship. The Supreme Court has now just stepped in and stayed that judge's decision, meaning that the Arizona law requiring proof of citizenship is still there.
Yes.
Wow.
Awesome.
So that just happened. So it's kind of funny that we were talking about that, and all of a sudden,
isn't it amazing that we live in a country where proving you are a citizen to vote is somehow controversial? Is that not bizarre? Think of how low we've come over the last 50 years or so.
Well, when you think about it, I love the statement because minorities are not smart enough to have identification.
Yeah.
So who's the racist? I'm like, if I want people to have identification, but the Democrats say that minorities aren't as smart as white people and don't have the ability to get ID, and it's like,
wasn't it a Democrat that said that some black people haven't heard of the word computer? Wasn't that Kathy Hochul?
I missed that one, but okay.
Ooh, yeah, that was Kathy Hochul.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they got memory hold pretty hard.
I have to say that doesn't surprise me. But
it's crazy how they actually think that stuff.
Well,
I'm not sure they actually think that stuff. I might take exception to that. It's manipulation. There's only one reason to oppose voter ID, and that is to perpetuate voter fraud. That's the only reason, and that's what they're doing. They what I've come to understand in 30 years of political action is that to the left, words do not have fixed meanings. Words have variable definitions. They mean whatever they want them to mean on any given day, but the purpose for those malleable definitions is to bludgeon you into compliance. Words are just bludgeons used to bring you into compliance. Okay? That's why they call you a hater or a racist or a misogynist or a xenophobe, or pick whatever phobia they want to claim you have. And it is all for the purpose of silencing you. That's it.
Yes. And I always want to have an argument with somebody on the left. It's like, if I just confess to being, a bigot, misogynist, homophobe, xenophobe, whatever, can we just argue the facts?
No. Here's a matter of fact, in the first part of the book, I have a section on how to argue with a leftist if you must. Okay. And I give credit to Ann Coulter on that because she wrote a book entitled How to Talk to a Liberal If You Must. But one of the things that they're going to do invariably is they're going to sling a name at you. Okay. You'll be into a conversation on illegal immigration, and they'll look at you and say, "You're a racist." And what you need to do is not to say, "No, I'm not," because if you do, you've lost the argument. So instead,
Right. When did you stop beating your wife?
exactly. And so the moment you start denying it, you've lost. So instead, what I do is I say, "Isn't that just like a leftist? You don't have any facts, so you start slinging names. Now you've made it all about them." And that is one of the many
Right
election
now we
tactics
have
I use.
All right. Let me just put the volume over here really quick. Wait,
Global
just back it up just this is what we were talking about earlier.
we have, you know, young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them.
Alrighty then. I guess that pretty much says it all, huh?
Ouch.
Yep.
Yeah, Kathy Hochul is, I call her Kathy Hokum, but that's a different matter. But in any case, as I say, the first part of the book, I teach people how to deal with the left in daily life, how to argue with the left, what to do about leftists who try to control you in one way or the other. Unfortunately, because we're conservatives, all too often we fall prey to that because our intentions are honest and we assume other people's are too. And that is generally a mistake.
Right.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is a mistake. What I always do when people are like, "Oh, you're this or that," I'll be like, "Okay, well, prove my point wrong, though." Just basically just go right back because ad hominem attacks. That's what they're to do. They don't want to argue the facts. They don't want to argue the point. So they try to dissuade the conversation by having you defend something else.
You mean kind of like what they're doing at the Democratic National Convention right now?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
party that wants to save
Only
democracy.
talking about Trump.
Yeah, the party that
Yeah,
wants to save
exactly.
democracy install someone who had zero primary votes, tries to jail their political enemies. They tried to get the Republican candidate thrown off ballots. They did get the independent candidate thrown off some ballots, and they did get multiple independent candidates thrown off some ballots. That doesn't really seem too democratic to me. And
here in North Carolina, they fight left-leaning candidates to keep them off the ballot constantly. And unfortunately, we're kind of a little like the District of Columbia. We do have kind of a deep state here where we've got bureaucrats who are leftists and, doing things from the State Board of Elections and from other areas that where they can exercise control. Sad but true.
Yeah, it's really it's like I don't know, double speak, right? The Orwellian thing.
Oh yeah.
Ministry of truth is not true. The
Yep.
party for democracy is not the party for democracy.
Yep. I quote Orwell all the time. I think the only thing he had wrong in 1984 was the year.
Ouch.
Everything else,
Yeah,
I
it
think
was
we
supposed
can
to be
recognize.
fiction, not an instructional book.
No, but I think it was yeah, you're right. I see your point. Yes, you're right. I get it.
I think Orwell knew exactly what was going to come down eventually.
It's pretty amazing.
Especially because I mean he was referring to English socialism, Ingsoc. And so yeah, very definitely. And anybody who hasn't read 1984 should. Anybody who hasn't slogged through Ayn Rand and Atlas Shrugged, they should do that too. It's not an easy read. I know that.
You like Atlas Shrugged, or you like The Fountainhead better?
Okay, fair enough.
Fountainhead is another book by Ayn Rand.
Yep. But
It's not an easy book to
so
understand.
in any case, my goal is to get people active against the left. And right now, people think, oh, it's too late to start a PAC and run election activities to elect pro-gun candidates and defeat anti-gun candidates. But it's not. You can do it right now. You could probably do it in late September and still have some level of impact. But they should, set about it right now, because they've got to create a PAC, start doing list building, and start doing some fundraising. And, fundraising, we love to run raffles. I run politically incorrect raffles. And because, it used to be edgy to raffle off an AR-15, but hell, now the Republicans do it. So we do raffles like the Hillary Clinton special back in 2016. We raffled off an AR-15, 1,000 rounds of ammunition, and a framed portrait of Hillary Clinton. And what we said was, we're not telling you what to do with the portrait of Hillary, but we do understand that the last time she was on the front of our newsletter, she was very popular at the range.
No.
That sold. That went viral. Fortunately, because a leftist organization claimed we were threatening Hillary, which of course we were not. But they claimed we were threatening Hillary, so the whole thing went viral. And I was selling tickets for AR-15 to people in countries where you can't own AR-15s. Of course, it also got me a visit from the Secret Service, but but they really didn't take it very seriously either. They matter of fact, when he was leaving, the Secret Service agent said, "So, Grassroots North Carolina, is it friendly to law enforcement?" I said, "Of course it is." At that time, I was federally deputized myself. I said, "Certainly it is." He goes, "So, just hypothetically speaking, how does one join your organization?" I understand Hillary was never very popular with the Secret Service.
I understand that pretty much too.
Yeah, she wasn't polite.
Yeah. There's a rumor going around that I have not confirmed, that, how they give monikers to everybody, they give a name to all the people they protect. The rumor is that hers was Broomstick One. I don't know if that's true or not.
I would probably venture to guess it probably would be.
Yeah, there's a meme about her plane crashing, and it shows a broomstick jammed into the ground.
All that sniper fire. And Kosovo, she said she dodged sniper fire.
Right.
And then
was that before or after greeting the Girl Scouts as she exited?
Well, that's the event that she was talking about, dodging sniper fire, and then they have the video where she's like greeting like Girl Scouts and everything.
Well, with respect to Donald Trump, I wrote a piece that I think it ran in Ammo Land. I can't remember if that one did or not, but the title of it was, "It wasn't just Donald Trump who dodged a bullet." Because when you think about it, it was all of us. That would have been horrific.
Amen.
So I'm writing for Ammo Land. I know that.
I'm sorry?
You've done some stuff on Ammo Land. I know that. I've read some stuff on Ammo Land.
Yep. Freddie's been very good about publishing a lot of my stuff. He just, I put the stuff out and he just grabs it and runs with it, which yes, please do. And the one I particularly enjoyed was when I wrote a piece called Phony Gun Groups, and talked about Nagger and the Dorr brothers and
I can link that if you want. It's right here, actually.
Is it? You got it?
Of course I do.
I should have known. Silly me for asking.
Yeah,
there we go. That picture you got right there that you just scrolled through, that's the picture of the Dorr brothers' office for North Carolina. It's a UPS store.
Oh.
They listed an address on their North Carolina Firearms Coalition that asks
Mhm.
everybody for money. And so I looked up, I Googled the address, Google Maps, and it came up with the UPS store. And so I made sure to put a picture of their office along with, the other information and sent it to several, I don't know, 80,000 of our best friends, something like that, as well as
Right.
public getting it on AMOLAND. So that's Aaron and Chris Dorr, and I forget the third brother.
I don't know. There's
Who's-
3 of them.
Yeah, there are 3 of them. The funny part is, I mean, Aaron and I were trained by the same people in legislative tactics, namely Mike Rothfeld and what is now the Foundation for Applied Conservative Leadership, who used to do some good work, but unfortunately, somewhere along the line, it became all about the money. And that is what, and I get this all the time. People saying, I just got a mailing from the North Carolina Firearms Coalition. Should I send them money? It's unfortunate, and it's a draw that the Dorr brothers have. I don't know, a couple of dozen. There's a Facebook page devoted to the Dorr brothers, Dorr Brothers Scams, I think it is, and they sap resources from good organizations that are actually doing the work. That's my biggest problem with them. Every dollar they get is a dollar that some good gun rights organization is not getting. I have to put my eyes back on here. Is that the one?
That was it wasn't just Donald Trump who dodged the bullet.
Yeah, there we go. Yep. Very good. Yep. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's the other one.
AMOLAND has been very kind to me. They do some great stuff. Freddie and the rest of them, just phenomenal stuff. I mean, you're there virtually daily with your latest FOIA requests and things to drive the alphabet agencies insane.
Yep.
Mostly the ATF.
Yeah.
So
I do that. I just try to. I mean, I'm not like anti-government or anything like that. I just want good government. I want,
right,
our rights to be left alone.
GOA FOIA'd for how many ATF agents were at the goals conference.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yes.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I do know I had somebody from the Trace at my seminar.
Yeah. I actually, did you see my picture of him?
No.
Yeah, I
So
called him out.
I think the guy that you shared the photo of is different than who got credit for writing the article.
Yeah, I mean,
I can
they
tell you
had
it was him.
they had undercover people at everywhere.
And I didn't realize that the Trace was only about, anti-gun stuff.
Oh yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
they're funded by every town.
I thought it was like a Mother
it's Bloomberg.
Jones or.
Yeah, it's Michael Bloomberg stuff. They pose as journalists, but it's really a propaganda organ for Bloomberg's usual anti-Second Amendment agenda.
Yeah,
What I have to say to these guys is like, you first.
dude.
Bloomberg needs to give up his armed security.
I
Good luck with that.
I have a hard drive with stuff on it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Met.
Got a hard drive worth of stuff. Yeah.
I hope it's in a secure place with a lawyer who will send it in. I fear for your life, John.
Well, let me just do this here.
I'm waiting for the British to extradite us for the memes we post.
Oh yeah, that's freaking ridiculous. All right.
Britain has been a police state for a long time now. I used to overnight in Britain for the airline all the time, and that place is scary. Truly scary.
Oh, what is this? It's a document with background checks and staff list and all their taxes.
Is that the trace?
Yeah, let's just here, let's just choose one. This is just the ones I put on here. This I got other just that are my other one, but these are the ones that I have done. All right, let's look through here. I'm gonna share this instead. All right, let me just do this. All public information. So don't strike me here. Let's see here. Doobie. It's just like a little sneak peek of some of the stuff. Yeah, all right. So this is the editor in chief right here. So I'm going to go through all these phone numbers and social security numbers because nobody needs to see that. This is all our properties, no criminal records, but let's take a look. This is sexual offenders that live near. So it's nothing. That's nothing to do with her. So let's go ahead and take a look at her bankruptcies.
Ooh. Bankruptcy number 1.
Yeah. So and her lien that she has on her Texas on her Kentucky property. Yeah. I might be doing a little bit of research there.
That's like you remember the what was it? A newspaper in the state of New York published the names of concealed handgun permit holders.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We had WRAL try to do the same thing in North Carolina. They published an address searchable database of concealed handgun permit holders, but they only gave out partial addresses, they claim, which of course was nonsense. Part of them were full addresses, and I was having people send me Google Earth photos of their house based on what they got off this thing. So I called WRAL and I said, "You really want to take that down?" And they said, no, we're not going to take it down. I said, "No, you really want to take that down?" No, we're not going to. Okay. So the reporter's name was Mark Binker. And so what we did is we published Mark Binker's partial address, mostly his home value, his voter affiliation, his cell phone number, I was doxing before doxing was cool. Okay. We published, he was kind enough to put his family photos on the internet. They went out.
Shoot.
Photos of his relatives went out. His producer, ultimately, his nasty divorce in Maryland went out. And so, needless to say, all the media started screaming bloody murder. Oh, that's not fair. You can't do that. I said, listen, in the era of the internet, we all live in glass houses. So
Yes.
y'all better play nice now. And needless to say, that never happened again. And that disappeared from the website.
Yeah, one of the things I think is really hilarious is the one time in which decided to give out Bonta's phone number.
Oh, really? So, how'd that work out?
Well, we gave it out because we were texting him. He was like live on TV. They were doing some press conference. And we kept on texting them, and he kept on looking at the phone, like, "Look behind you." We would see him like look at his phone, start looking around, and we were just cracking up, like live streaming it.
Ah, yes. Any day you can tick off a leftist can't be all bad. That's my credo.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely.
So I went to Goals, but I didn't leave the exhibition floor. I didn't go to any of the meeting speeches or anything like that. I kind of feel silly now.
Well, we were so overwhelmed at our table that I didn't do much either. I went to
What's
see.
that? You know what that is?
What was that
I
one?
just flashed on there. That's their company directory for the trace.
Oh my! You should publish that. I think you should publish that.
It's all going to be published.
But it's
Well, I
better
told
when.
John last night that I want to get the guy that went to the event on the show and talk to him.
Yeah, well, I have his card.
Will
I don't
Van
have it
Zandt,
handy right now, but I have his card. I can give it to you.
W Van Zandt at thetrace.org.
What was it? Van
W
Zandt?
Van Zandt, yeah, Will Van
Yep,
Zandt.
that was him. That's him. Yep, that's him.
Yep. He used to work at the Philadelphia Inquirer where he got his first job after leaving Columbia, where he actually took classes from another Trace member. It looks like they am I still here or not? Wait, hello?
You're with us.
I'm hearing you.
All right, hold on. Let me just yeah, okay. So he started working at the Philadelphia Inquirer of July of 2000. He graduated from Columbia. There was a professor there that now works at Trace. It recruited a lot of people from Columbia. After Columbia, in 2002, he started working for the St. Petersburg Times. Before he worked there up until 2009 when he started working for Newsday, and in 2019 he started working for the Trace. He holds a Bachelor of Arts from St. John's College as well.
So why did he stop being a journalist and start becoming a gun control shill?
Give me 1
I
second.
guess you could say the same thing of the supposed researchers at the Michael Bloomberg School of Public Health at Johns Hopkins, right? At what point did you stop becoming an academic and start becoming a shill for the gun control people?
I got the answer here. Christian Wilkins, when they started paying him, they gave him his base salary is $120,633.
Yep.
And he gets around $40,000 in bonuses a year.
I see. It's lucrative to be a shill for the anti-gunners. Is that it?
Wow.
Yeah. Tally Woodward, her base salary is $176,300, and she gets around $45,000 a year in bonuses.
That's one thing you could say about old Michael. He's got deep pockets.
Yep, exactly. Most of the funding comes from every town, even though they say they are nonpartisan and and they're independent.
Nonsense. Matter of fact, I think Van Zandt was the guy who wanted to do an interview with me years back, and I jerked him around there too. I had a good time with him. Can't even remember what exactly it was I did to him, but by the time he was done, he didn't get an interview. He wasted a fair bit of time on it, which was my goal.
That's good. Yeah, I can tell you exactly okay, let's see. They bring in $3,581,483 from contributions
From
almost
the Open Society Institute and
almost all every town.
Okay, almost all every town. All right.
Yeah, I know a little bit about those guys.
Keep your guard up, John. A lot of people are not fond of you. We need you.
Well, I think very easy to have a casual conversation with somebody at a Pro 2A event, and then that conversation getting twisted. Just the same way the article mentioned religiosity a couple of times. It's like, you mean they said an opening and closing prayer? It's not like they're speaking in tongues and having conversions on the floor and a baptismal tank. I'm a little surprised at the verbosity that they went after all of these things with, and kind of stretching the truth to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you got to be guarded in how you have conversations with people. Somebody could walk up to me or John and say, "Oh, I watch your show, big fan, blah blah blah," and then get you to say something that would could be twisted.
And especially when you're doing media, as Donald
Mhm.
Trump has discovered many times, because he lets his mouth go a little bit too long
Oh, yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And so consequently, I teach people to be very disciplined when they do media. I tell people to have their sound bites prepared. I tell people to, if they make a statement to the media that they're not happy with, because presuming it's a soundbite interview, I tell them to screw it up deliberately so they can't use it. And so there are tricks one can use to get the sort of media that you're looking for. As a matter of fact, media management is one of the things I cover in Rules for Anti-Radicals. It's designed to be a pretty much that's everything I've learned, or most of no, I kept some tricks behind that I didn't reveal, but minus some of my dirty tricks that I enjoy using. That is what I learned in 30 years of running gun rights organizations. And, the tactics work.
Yeah, there's all sorts of dirty tricks.
I'm sorry, no?
There's all sorts of dirty tricks
Oh, without a doubt.
that people use. You know what the funny thing about Christian Will Van Zandt going to Goals?
What was that?
He had to buy a membership.
He what?
He had to buy a membership to come in.
Nice to know we got some money out of him anyways, if nothing else.
Right.
Yeah, the Bloomberg bucks.
Probably not enough to really make the difference, but every little bit helps.
Yeah, I think Tally is the one that was recruiting everybody from Columbia, because she used to be an adjunct professor there, and you can see a lot of people that took her classes end up working for the Trace.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Like Brian Frescos, Celine Thomas, Olga Pierce. Oh no, Olga Pierce. No, okay, yeah, that's right. Mike Spikes, for example. Will Van Zandt actually came from Columbia as well.
That doesn't really surprise me. You know the history of Columbia, right?
Yeah. Charles Chip Brown.
The Frankfurt School, is that a reference to the Frankfurt School?
Yes, it is, in fact. Frankfurt School, Institute for Social Research. What Antonio Gramsci, and he brought to Columbia University in 1937 a little thing we all recognize called critical theory. Mm-hmm. And of course, which eventually became critical race theory. So yeah, Columbia's got a long history of attacking your freedoms and promoting Marxism.
Yeah, well, talking about like that stuff, Craig Hunter, who happens to be the executive editor at the Trace before he became the Trace, was the DEI coach for SUNY up in New York.
They had DEI prior. How long ago was that?
Hold on, I'll tell you in a second.
I thought DEI is in the last couple of years.
Now he served as a DEI coach between September 2021 and May 2022 for 9 months. He was the he was the first DEI coach for
And last.
Kooning, yeah.
I'm happy to say that the UNC school system, thanks to the Republicans, has now shed their DEI program in North Carolina. They had to let go, I believe, of something like 1,000 people. It was ridiculous.
Learn the code.
Oh, so
To
the
give you an
DEI
idea how
program was
bloated
all
that
about
is.
DEI.
Uh-huh. So
Learn the code. I just wanted to just put that out there, but yeah, and look for more coming out on that. I have a lot.
cool.
This left movement is sad. I was hoping for them to revolt so I could see John and Rich use their guns on a live show. Polar Knight is from Norway, by the way. He is a Norwegian.
Oh, interesting.
So what time is it in Norway now?
I don't know. I think probably like 8-hour difference, I think. I could be wrong.
I'm guessing 6 if I had to guess.
No, it's 11:03 p.m.
11:03.
Oh, wait.
In Norway?
Yes. That's what Gemini.google says.
They must not do daylight savings if I had to guess.
They say it's CEST.
What speaking of schedules,
It's
what is your timetable on this, Vince?
Norway? No, it's not. It's 12:03.
Really?
6 hours would make more sense to me. Yes.
Well, Google's wrong then.
Yeah, it's definitely 12:03. I just looked it up.
Oh, Polar Knight says 3:03. Oh, is it 03? So it's 12:03. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. All right, guys, that is it. I gotta get off. I gotta cook some dinner here. So, but thank you for joining us, Paul.
I have to go to an HOA meeting. Yeehaw.
Oh, good luck.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Thank you very much for having me, John. And if anybody's got any questions, they can reach me on the website, rulesforantiradicals.com. And I will be happy to help anyone in their election efforts. That's, of course, anyone on our side. Let's go out and kick some butt, huh?
Yeah,
Sounds
definitely.
like good information.
Thank
you very much, sir.
And tonight, be sure to check out the Hank Strange podcast over on Player, where he'll be joined by Walter and probably Patrick, I believe.
Yep.
Awesome.
Are you joining him too, Rich?
I hadn't planned on it. I might drop in.
All right. Well, there you go. And I will see you guys next week. And with that, we're out of here.